Here's the real truth of this entire conversation is that clients aren't looking for perfection. They want presence. They want someone who's going to show up and deliver value, help them from where they are to where they want to go, and to listen, ask great questions, and move forward. Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. You don't suck at sales. You just don't believe in yourself. You're not losing deals because of bad designs or cheap clients. You're losing them because of the story that's in your head. That inner critic, that saboteur, that he's been wrecking your closing rate. That inner critic, that fixed mindset that constantly pours doubt into your mind, to your soul, to your heart. The one that says, don't be too pushy, or they can't afford this, or what are you doing here, man? This project is way out of your league, or I'm not good at sales. Does any of that sound familiar? Does any of you actually hear that in your mind as well? That doubt that creeps in, especially at the wrong times, at times when you need to be most confident, and you have that doubt that creeps into your soul. Sometimes it's almost debilitating. I know this is something that's part of the human condition. There's nothing wrong with you. This is very common. This is all part of the human experience. And the crazy part is that he'll show up even before the client speaks. You walk into the house and look around, and you'll start to feel that doubt come in. And you know what? That's a good thing. That means that you're actually aware. If you feel it and you can sense it, and now you're aware of it, now we can do something about it. So where it really shows up quite often in these painful moments is when you start assuming things with customers. You start thinking they can't afford it. Oh man, that means if they need $50,000 for this project, I'm going to have to figure out a way to do it for 30 because there's no way they can afford this. And you know what? Why do I keep getting all these cheap clients? They're just such a waste. They're just Why does my other competitors have the best projects and I don't? That's all being poured in by that saboteur saying that you're not enough and that you're really not really cut out for selling or even building these projects. And you know what? All of that is utter crap because you know it's not true. But somehow we let those voices run roughshod over us. So we need to become more aware. I'm going to teach you here in a moment how to catch them and how to flip them on their heads. They're also, especially in contracting, is this deep need to be liked. Validation from our customers. Oftentimes in order to be liked, we'll soften price and we'll bring price down and discount just in order to make sure we get the project and that we don't offend the customer. And, we rush to the close trying to get to the money as fast as possible. And that kills trust big time. Now, and we're also not believing that we're actually worth what we're charging. That saboteur starts thinking, you know what? Yeah, you're just a landscaper. You're just a landscaper. You can't charge what a home builder or a pool builder could charge for these additions in the backyard. You couldn't do that. You're just a landscaper. And if you guys out there listening are feeling this right now, there is the opportunity to stop that conversation in your head. That's what's holding you back. It's that conversation that's happening without you even wanting it to happen, that doubt that creeps in, that takes away any of the joy that you have in the project because you're afraid. It adds fear into your life. Here's the real truth of this entire conversation is that clients aren't looking for perfection. They want presence. They want someone who's going to show up and deliver value, help them from where they are to where they want to go, and to listen, ask great questions, and move forward. If we slow it down and follow what I'm going to teach you here in a moment, you can slow that negative voice down, that doubt, put it in its place, put it in a jail cell and lock the damn door because that thing is never going to help you. It's always going to push you back. It's time to start rewriting that story. Rewrite the story that's in your head about what you can't do and spin that completely around and show the world what you are capable of what God put you here to do. So the way we do this is we call it the 3 C's, how to catch that saboteur. The first is to catch the lie. So as soon as you hear something, you feel something, you notice something like an uncertainty, a doubt that's creeping in, figure out what it's saying. What is that saboteur telling you? What is that uncertainty telling you? What is that fixed mindset telling you? Oh, you're just a landscaper. This project is way out of your league. Oh my goodness. Or you can't charge her that. There's no way she's going to pay that. Look at this house. There's no way they can afford this. Or I'm not comfortable asking for $50,000 for a project or $500,000, whatever it is. When you start feeling that come up, catch it, grab it, say, got it. All right. I got the lie. I got this. What is this? And I know this might sound crazy to you guys. Just bear with me. Trust me. This is something that'll free you from so many things holding you back from life and business, is this idea of the inner critic. Grab it first. Once you have that lie, then you challenge it. You say, is this true? Is it true that she can't afford this upgrade in her backyard? Is it true, or is it just familiar? It's just my constant subconscious pattern thinking, man, every time I go out, let me think back about that. Every time I go out to homes in that development, that subdivision, I think the same thing. I'm like, I go out, I park, and I think, man, I hope they don't ask me too many questions. I hope they don't, dig too deep, because I don't know. I feel uncomfortable around that kind of money or around those kind of people. All of that's the inner critic. So we want to challenge the story. Is this true or just familiar? And then we want to flip it. So now we got to choose a new identity. So shoulders back, strong voice, lead like a pro, and say, what version of me does this client need today? Does this client need the version of you that the saboteurs are just running roughshod over, that you're not enough, and that there's no way you're just a landscaper or just a hardscaper, that you shouldn't even be in this community, or there's no way you can charge that much for that project? Is that the client? Is that what the client needs today? Or what if they need somebody who shows up saying, you know what? We do really good work. We know that our clients are super satisfied and that this stuff holds up for years and years and years. And I bring tons of value by asking great questions. And what would happen if I showed up to that meeting knowing, or at least thinking, what if they already said yes? What if I already knew they would say yes? How would I show up to that meeting? So what version do we need today? The version of you, which is the one that's either in that saboteur mindset of not being enough, or what we call the sage, which is the positive version of that. It's not a lack mindset, but it's an abundance mindset. What version does the client need of me today? And what if I already knew they'd say yes? How would you show up different if you weren't thinking they're probably going to say no, versus what if they already said yes? The way you show up, I know this might sound crazy, but the way you show up to that meeting is going to directly determine what's going to happen next. One client, they could say yes to you or wants to say yes to you. They love your website. They've got great referrals, but you show up down, beat up from the day and just not asking good questions. And saboteurs are just kicking your butt. You just want to be home. You just want to sleep. You just want to do whatever. And the customers feel that, and you lose the opportunity to serve that client and to make that sale because of that mindset. When you shift it into a positive mindset, it shifts everything. So here's a great self-awareness drill you can work on that'll help you get more awareness. Because once you become aware of these are fun. You're like, oh, that's what you think, huh? Yeah, they can't afford that. I have some questions for her. I need some evidence to make sure that if that saboteur is right, I need to have some evidence to see that. So let me have some great questions about budget that a client can be asked in order to have them open up and be like, you know what? Look, saboteur, you were wrong. They can afford $50,000. It's not a problem. Their budget's $100,000 because they really want to bring their family back together and they don't care what it costs. They just want it done. If I would have stuck with that saboteur mindset, the limiting mindset, that fixed mindset of they can't afford it because the last two projects said no to me, and this one must say no again, it's going to limit your ability to grow significantly. So here's a self-awareness drill. Start journaling. Get out a book, piece of paper, start writing it down. Even on your phone, there's a journal app. And before your next sales call, think about what assumptions am I making about this customer or this project? What am I afraid of? Deep down, what are you afraid of? That they're going to say no? That you might win and actually totally botch it because you've never done a project like that before? That you may lose it to a competitor again? What are you afraid of? And what version of you needs to show up? The one that's riddled with saboteurs saying negative things in his head or her head? Or the one that is confident, that knows what questions to ask, knows how to ask them and how to engage somebody in a way that they talk more than you do, so you can really gauge and get deeper into a relationship? That's what you need to do. If you do that and you become more self-aware, everything will shift for you inside, and you'll become much more effective when it comes to communicating, and not just for sales, in your teams, in your relationships, in life. All of this shifts when you start becoming aware of those negative voices in your head. So at this point, your goal is to make sure you know that your saboteur is not in charge of the show. Become aware, change the story, challenge that story, and choose a new identity to move forward in your sales and business journey. What if you could close 75% of your projects without chasing, convincing, or dropping your price? That's not a dream. That's the mission. Mission 75. Here at Yes Express Sales Academy, we are spearheading a bold shift to help outdoor living contractors sell with confidence, not desperation. Because let's be real, you've been told to just give them a good price and hope for the best. You've been trained to beg for work and give away your time and compete with contractors who don't even play at your level. That ends now. I wrote the Core 10 Sales Playbook because it's the system I desperately needed 20 years ago. It's built for real-world, design-build contractors, not guys in suits. Inside, I'll show you how to qualify leads in minutes, speak to emotion, not features, cut confusion and eliminate ghosting, lead the sales call with calm authority, and close premium jobs without flinching. That book drops in January 2026. Check out the show notes to get on the list to be the first in line to grab your copy of the Core 10 Sales Playbook before they're gone. This isn't about working harder, it's about selling smarter, and it starts now. Let's raise the standard together.